In this section, we will show you how to take apart an old hard drive and get the motor and the platter that we will use for our laser text projector. You will need a few tools for this task: a flathead screwdriver, a precision or torque screwdriver set, and some vice grips or pliers. First, you need to identify the front and back of your hard drive. The front usually has a label or sticker, while the back has a circuit board. You can see an example of a hard drive here. Next, you need to remove the screws that hold the top of the case on. You will need your torque screwdrivers for this step. Some of the screws may be hidden under warranty stickers, so make sure you check all over and peel off any stickers if necessary. Once you have removed all the screws, you can lift off the top of the case. You may need to use a flathead screwdriver to pry it open if it is stuck. Be careful not to damage any of the internal components. Inside the case, you will see the platter, which is a shiny metal disc that stores your data, and the motor, which spins the platter. You will also see a read/write arm, which moves across the platter and reads or writes data with a tiny magnet at its tip. You can see an example of what it looks like here. To extract the motor and the platter, you need to remove the read/write arm first. You can do this by unscrewing it from its base and lifting it off gently. Be careful not to touch the magnet at the tip, as it is very powerful and can damage your electronics. Next, you need to remove the platter from the motor. You can do this by unscrewing it from its spindle and lifting it off carefully. Be careful not to scratch or bend the platter, as it is very delicate and can shatter easily. Finally, you need to remove the motor from the case. You can do this by unscrewing it from its mount and pulling it out with some force. You may need to use some vice grips or pliers to grip it firmly and twist it out. You have now successfully disassembled your old hard drive and extracted the motor and the platter that we will use for our laser text projector. Well done! Now that we have the laser and the lens ready, we need to mount 12 mirrors on the platter at different angles and connect the motor to a power supply. This will allow us to project the text onto a wall or a screen. To mount the mirrors, we need to cut them into small pieces that fit on the platter. You can use a glass cutter or a diamond blade to do this. Be careful not to cut yourself and wear protective gloves and goggles. You also need to sand the edges of the mirrors to make them smooth. Next, we need to mark the positions of the mirrors on the platter. You can use a protractor and a ruler to measure the angles and distances. The mirrors should be evenly spaced around the platter and tilted at different angles. You can use this diagram as a reference image of a platter with 12 mirrors. The angles of the mirrors will determine how the text is projected. You can experiment with different angles to get different effects. For example, if you want the text to scroll horizontally, you can tilt the mirrors slightly clockwise or counterclockwise. If you want the text to scroll vertically, you can tilt the mirrors up or down. To attach the mirrors to the platter, you can use super glue or epoxy. Make sure the glue is strong enough to hold the mirrors in place and does not interfere with the rotation of the platter. Apply a small amount of glue on the back of each mirror and press it firmly onto the platter. Wait for the glue to dry completely before moving on. To connect the motor to a power supply, you need to solder 2 wires to the terminals of the motor. You can use any 12V DC power supply, such as a battery or an adapter. Make sure you connect the positive wire to the positive terminal and the negative wire to the negative terminal. You can also add a switch or a potentiometer to control the speed of the motor. Once you have connected the motor to a power supply, you can test your laser text projector. Place it on a stable surface and point it at a wall or a screen. Turn on the power supply and adjust the speed of the motor. You should see your text projected onto the wall or screen. Congratulations! You have successfully turned an old hard drive into a laser text projector. You can now use it for fun or for educational purposes. You can also customize it by changing the text, color, font, size, etc. Have fun and be creative.